There's good information out there. You just have to want it. You want to seek the right information. And at first it's hard, so you've got to weed through a lot. You've got to experience it. You listen to somebody and then you put in the time and go, you know what, I'm going in the wrong direction. And those are great lessons. So mistakes are never mistakes. As long as you can alchemize it and turn them into stepping stones. They're great way to learn. It's so frowned upon that social media and YouTube, TV, that it's so bad for us and the kids. But you have the controls, the remote control. It doesn't click on shows by itself. Your fingers, your phone, it doesn't, swipe and make you go, you gotta listen to me, it's like it's your choice. So remember that. There's good information out there, but it is rare. It's hard to find, but it's worth it. It's there. And that's where I love technology in that way. There's a positive way to use technology. And I encourage people when they make comments, at times to tell me where you're commenting from. So it's been really neat, even within the United States, because that's why I love this. Like, that's why I can't say all technology is bad. Technology can bring us all together, because I have people that comment and they say that they're commenting from India, hi from Czech Republic, hello from Norway. And I want you to continue to do that. If you're writing something from all over the world or within the United States, it's so cool. It's like, wow, we can be connected and we can help each other out. In that way, technology is great. And I talk about technology in golf, and I can't wait to continue to share that it can be very beneficial. So I don't want to tell you that you shouldn't buy any golf clubs. It's all about your swing. It's a lot to do with your swing. So I will for sure talk about that. But as your swing gets better, there are certain clubs better than others, and there's ones where it fits you better. So it's not to say that I'm against it. Although I have a driver, which is a great driver. It's not that, I want to keep any driver. It's like, it's a great driver, and I haven't had a driver that seemed to outperform it. So that's why I've had the driver for over 5 years, maybe. I think so. It's been a long time. Not to say that, next month I try something and I'm like, you know what, I want to replace it. But right now, my driver is very cool. It's a stock driver. So those are things I want to talk about too. Like, should you get custom clubs or should you just get one off the rack? Like, what should you do? And I'll sort of guide you through my experiences, because I've tried a lot of different drivers and custom drivers, fancy drivers too. I've seen it all. Not only my experience, but other people's experiences. Like, they'll come to a lesson and their driver is, thousands of dollars, just the driver alone. And then you add up the whole set, it's like, wow, that's an expensive set of clubs. And I'm not biased about anything. So that's how I've learned, okay, what really is important. And so I'll see how clubs perform. Not only for myself that I tried a lot of clubs because I have that curiosity. I'm like, I want to try. But, I get to sort of see what direction is best for all of us. And it'll help you kind of guide your way through a good set of clubs for yourself and not feel like you're so dependent on your club fitting experience, because not all club fitters are created equal either. You know, I talk about golf instruction, but club fitters too. So I wish I could put all this information in one video. So I'm going to be misunderstood throughout videos. Everything that people are going to comment, I would answer some of the questions that my students would have, and then they would go home or play golf with people and they're like, well, what about this? You know, you go ask her that. And so they come to a lesson and they have like 20 questions and we sort through all of them. And it all makes sense. Like, I've never had anyone go, well, it still doesn't make sense. Because I either have them do it or like we really talk it through and they go, wow, that makes sense. And so it just saves them a lot of time. But what's cool is, as I talk about how I love technology and we can all connect globally, I've had students from all over the world, you know, in person, and their issues are just the same as the issues that we have here in the US when it comes to the golf swing and gimmicks and tips and things like that. So I lived in an area where it was so global. Like, I would have people that would come to the area to work for a month and then they'd go back to their country, and then they would take lessons in between. So they would use that opportunity to take golf lessons. So I would have people from all over the world taking lessons also, not only just my local students. And the commonality is amazing. I mean, we are truly one in that way. So I don't see a big, huge separation. I mean, if there are issues in the golf swing, there are issues globally in the golf swing. You know, if there are mindsets about the game and the things that really get one person, it usually gets many. So I just love now being able to talk about these things, and then people comment, and those comments are actually comments that my students have had or I have had from other people going, well, what about this angle? Oh, you're talking about this, but what about that? Don't worry, like, say those things, because those things are going to be addressed in videos that I know that have really hindered people's games or like really kept them from making their breakthroughs. A lot of them. I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them. And so I want to address them. I love the comments that are what's happening within the golf community. And so I've did a myth about the right elbow that people think it's bad, where I told you it doesn't even exist. And if it does, it's really good for you. And then I've done the speed training, how that's good for just a few people, but it really hasn't benefited the average golfer, and it can really injure you. And then I did a video about how people tell you to swing slow a lot of times, because a lot of times people don't see the real issues of the golf swing, and then that's a common tip given out freely everywhere. And so swing slow when you're, you know, you still have a slow, bad swing if you do that. So I've had those videos, and then I've had some of the comments that are like, oh, okay, so we got to go with tempo. And oh my gosh, like, I can't wait to do a video on it. Okay, I'm going to do a video on it, so I won't go into it, but I love that somebody makes comments like that, because I do want to do a video on tempo, and you've heard it. If you're a golfer, you've heard this. I got to go hit balls and find my tempo. Or somebody's going to go, you got to go find your tempo. You got to have a good tempo, you know, or I watch the pros and they have a good tempo, and I particularly like, you know, and then you can put any name. I particularly like Scotty Scheffler's tempo, Ricky Fowler's tempo, Rory McIlroy's tempo. And so you go out and look for tempo. So I'm going to do myths about tempo. You're going to see, like, wait a minute, so there's a video on, myths about this and this and this, and I'm just trying to get you where I want you to understand things more. Okay, just kind of wake you up a little bit, tell you what's going on in the tempo world, and then you can figure out what you want to do. If it's worked for you, great. But I haven't seen it work for a lot of people. I really haven't. And in the future, I'm going to share with you before and after videos of my students, even from a before and after within a lesson itself, within a 45-minute lesson. And never in those lessons have I taught tempo and talked about it, because of the fact that everyone that comes to see me or the people that I see at the driving range have worked on it. And so you're going to see over time videos of swings that have worked on tempo and worked on speed training and worked on swinging slow. You're going to see all that. So I can't wait to share that with you. I'm actually going to stop myself from talking about tempo so that I can do a video on it. If you are starting to find some positivity in these videos, to continue to watch, because I really can't fit everything in, and sometimes I'll miss a point that's very important, and I will continue to fill it in other videos. So you're going to hear me say certain things repetitively, but it's not a bad thing. I know this because when I give lessons, even with a swing motion, a lot of times I'll be teaching something, and as they're getting it, I'll be talking about something else that they need to be working on. But it takes so many attempts later to go, oh, that's important. I didn't know that. And I'm like, oh, I've been saying it from day one. You just now are coming up to speed and realizing the importance of it. So a lot of times you have to experience things to even come to realization. And that's why I love actually time, because time does tell the truth. So over time, as things start to unfold, you'll go, oh no, that was a rabbit hole, that was bad, to, oh man, that really did make sense, and that does make sense. I'm living it now. So time does tell. So my question to you is, and let me give you a scenario first. Whenever a student is stuck on their swing and their game and they're afraid to change, my question is, how good have those tips worked for you? How good has your swing worked for you? If they're shooting 100 or 90, let's say, or they've been shooting 80s forever when they've played the sport for so long, I'm like, how good has that worked for you? I'm telling you, people are very protective of their golf swing. So it doesn't matter what you're shooting, what level. If somebody's shooting 100, they're afraid to make changes. And I go, what are you afraid of? Are you afraid that you're going to shoot 110, 115, or you blow up and you shoot 120? What are you afraid of? Where if you can face your fears and do the right things, what you're afraid of is nothing compared to what could happen. You start breaking 100, you start shooting in the 90s, you could start shooting the 80s, 70s, you could even go into the 60s. I mean, what I'm saying is those are the possibilities. So you're afraid of shooting 110 or protecting that swing that you have, or 90 and you're scared of shooting 97, but then if you can face your fears and do the right things, that, wow, all this other stuff, it opens the door to that. So you can ask yourself that. It's like, okay, I don't know if she's right about this. I don't know, Well, where are you at in your game? Are you still hitting a slice? You could go, I don't know if what she's saying is right. Well, go to a driving range. Which direction is everybody missing the ball? I guarantee you, you go to the driving range, most people are missing right. You know, the good golfers are hitting power fades, but the rest are hitting weak fades and a slice or a push to the right. And if they go left, it's like a dead pull. Check that within your game. People go, okay, the tips from my playing partners, I should sort of start recognizing and ignoring, like, you know, swing slow or go fast or whatever, and that towel drill. But that's not just passed around by your playing partners or some stranger at the driving range, which it does, yeah. Strangers will come to you. They'll be like, can I help you? But it's passed around through instruction too. So these videos, I'm not trying to push you to every instructor out there. It's just like club fitting too. It's like not all club fitters are created equal. I'm just trying to share with you to recognize if your instructor is good for you. And to recognize that is, have they really changed your game around? Like, if you have a slice, do you still have a slice? Or did they turn your slice into a weak fade? That's not good either. You need to walk away feeling like, oh my gosh, I know what it feels like to hit a draw. I know what it feels like to hit a power fade. I know what it feels like for women, especially because they don't like irons, because they can't get it up into the air. Oh, now I know what it feels like to hit the ball up in the air and land softly on the green. I know what it feels like to hit a pitch shot and it goes high.
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't go across the green. You don't skull it or chunk it. This isn't to say that every student that I have don't do those things, because bad habits, and you'll see the videos in the future that I share, that they'll come in. Like, I'll be like, okay, that's great, that swing looks good, let's keep going. And then suddenly it'll unravel with the bad motion in their swing. And it can unravel, like, if they don't continue to work on some of the key fundamental things, it will go back to, it wants to go back. And so what I'm trying to say is, I want you to have that sensation and hope and understanding that there is another way. But you do have to meet the experience halfway. A lot of these videos that you'll see, or teachings that will say, you can fix your slice with this one magical move. You know, or I found out the secret to hitting a draw. I'm going to tell you a secret right now. There is no secret to hitting a draw. There is no secret to hitting a power fade. There's no secret to hitting the ball softly on the green. The secret is that you have to overcome bad movements and replace it with good ones. It's a sequence of movements. It's not in a tempo. It's not in a single tip or many tips. You can just oscillate back from tip to tip to tip and not end up having the right motion that is a collective motion. Cool, I like that word. It just came out. Collective motion. Lastly, I know there's a lot going on in this world right now. There's definitely a lot of chaos and a lot going on. What I feel is we can only really control what we can control. And one of the things is to find peace within ourselves, even just a little bit of spark of peace. And then it can turn into a flame, and you can create a fire within yourself that can fuel you to better yourself each and every day, just a little bit. Just to start to think things more clearly and to do things that you enjoy, just even for a little bit. You can give yourself that. And that little bit of peace can resonate outwards within your surroundings, within your space. And I really feel like it has that butterfly effect and can carry out into the world and through nature and Gaia and the universe. I know that sounds so big, but it really starts with us, within that little bit of peace. So I'm sharing with you something that I'm passionate about, that a lot of people have ignited their passion for the game, but find what yours is. So it's not just to play good golf, that's just a side effect, or to do anything that you enjoy. Doesn't have to be golf. That's what I always say, like, do something, because if we can all individually figure out what we enjoy and get good at, then over time we can all be able to share some experience and wisdom and knowledge to each other. And that's how you better the world. We're not all here to do all the same things. Even golf, there's so many ways to play it. So I never want to control that. It's just like, you can play it any way you want. But if you do some of the right fundamental things, it can make whatever style of golf you want to play, whether you want to play 9 holes, 18 holes, you want to keep score, you don't want to keep score, whatever, compete, not compete, that's you. But if I can just make your experience, whatever it is, better, that's all that matters. So I really think that if we do that, we just come home and go to work and do other things in a happier spirit. I think in that way, we can change the world. We can change our environment. We can change our space. So, yeah, keep that in mind. Find that little piece of peace, and then it'll start to grow and nurture you and nurture everyone around you. All right, I'm going to leave you with that. Take care. Much love. Peace. Mahalo.